Welcome to another scriptural study. In fact, another scriptural empirical calendar and scriptural astronomical study, in which, once again, we will be sharing why indeed the 10th month, the new moon day, the first day of the 10th month, this year will once again be a day of remembrance. Yes, it will be the first day of the 10th month, the fourth and final day of remembrance in this cycle, which will commence at the dawn on the pagan day of Friday, January 26, 2024. Again, this scriptural study is for those that utilize all three witnesses of light with the sun, moon, and stars, because they together as one, working in perfect harmony, produce signs. And these signs can be filmed and photographed annually. And thus why we have the confidence, the extreme confidence, and expectation that the sign of the first day of the 10th month will carry through the entire 10th month, as it does annually. Again, the sun, moon, and stars are for appointed times, for days and years. And again, it produces signs, all three witnesses, sun, moon, and stars. Now, if you're on a solar calendar only, this will not be of interest to you. We get that. If you're a lunar only model, only with a crescent, first visible or last visible crescent, this will not be for you. If you're a conjunction only lunar phase person, this will not be for you. If you're a lunar solar only model, this will not be for you. And for the folks that are even in the full moon community, if you do not utilize the scriptural stars annually, this will not be for you. Again, we are restored full moon as new moon believers with the sun and stars, all three witnesses of light. Yes, the scriptural stars, as we can see here, because the moon rules the night and the stars do indeed together. For his kindness, our Father of lights, YaHuaH, the only self-existent one, his kindness is everlasting. Again, without shadow nor change, the darkness never overcomes the light. So again, pretty basic, and we believe in the writings of Hanok. Why? Not because of a gut feeling or a personal opinion, because we can take a film or a camera with film and photograph footage and photograph this. Film it annually for the four divisions of the year. Yes, understanding the leaders of the stars and how they lead the sun and the moon annually in both the east and west corridors as it relates to their portals and gates is so important. So as we go through this scriptural study, remember these scriptural stars that are recorded and have remained in the scriptural record can be seen with the human eye, unaided. No binoculars, no telescopes, and that's why we can film and photograph them as well. Remember, the apparent magnitude level, the lower the number, the easier it is to see with the unaided eye. So all of these stars with the sun and moon can be seen with the human eye. So the other cool thing is the psalmist stated in chapter 139, verse 14, I give thanks to YaHuaH, the Father of lights, for recognizing that we are awesomely and wondrously made. Wondrous are your works, and my being knows it well. And this is why even our hands with our fingers can measure the height, the distance, let alone its position on an azimuth/compass. Yes, YaHuaH's witnesses are wonders, and why Bereans observe them and keep great records. Remember, the odds of these scriptural stars out of the trillions that exist, remember, these are the ones that you can actually see. So we chose these because no one can argue that they're not in Scripture. And we utilize other scriptural stars, obviously, or other stars that are not even written in Scripture, but we focus on these because it's inarguable that they, exist. Some people can't say they don't exist. Well, they do exist. The prophets and other folks in Scripture talk about them. So this is why we utilize them. Remember, it's like the name. If someone is attempting to stop you from crying out to the Father, Shua, to cry out for your deliverance, be aware. If someone is attempting for you to stop utilizing the scriptural stars, let alone the sun, moon, all three witnesses, be aware. Why would anybody do that? What's the point? What's the risk of utilizing what the Father of lights gives us? Yes, let's trust in Yahuwah with all our heart and not lean on our own understanding. So what we are about to share here once again is not from any human opinion. It's reality that can be filmed and photographed year after year. And we're going to focus once again on a dawn day start for this first day of the 10th month. So all of the stellarium views will be with a dawn day start, and we'll get into why. Stop the video now. Take the time to read the Old Covenant and how it proved that the dawn first light is the true scriptural day start. Read the passages from the renewed covenant. Read the passages from the taught ones. They all followed a dawn day start. So let's continue on, because we don't look at one witness only. We utilize them all. Again, the weight of evidence proves truth. This is why in a court, they utilize the weight of evidence, not one opinion, not one piece of the entire celestial clock or sky clock or creator's clock and calendar. Yes, Yahuwah asks us to ensure in Psalms chapter 19, verses 1 through 2, the heavens are proclaiming the esteem of the Almighty Father of lights, and the expanse is declaring the work of his hand. Day to day, right here, the daylight time period, pours forth speech, and night to night reveals knowledge. Yes, all 4 night watches. So what we're about to review is how the leader stars rule with the moon, not just during the 4 night watches, but obviously that moon in relation to the sun, they have a repetible path, travel path, if you will. So again, this is why Yahuwah's witnesses are wonders, and why our being observes them throughout the daylight time period and the 4 night watches. Remember, timekeeping in the very dictionary definition, as in this example from Oxford Dictionary English, timekeeping, the action or process of recording how long something takes. Not just for a sunrise, sunset, moonrise, moonset, 180-degree witness, dawn, the whole thing. You don't look at just one piece of a face of a clock or a wristwatch now, do you? You look at the whole face of the clock with the second, minute, and hour hand, all 3 witnesses, for the whole time period or the whole face of that clock. So this is what we are about to review in this scriptural study. Again, we have 2 categories in this latest study. Number 1, proving the 10th new moon this year from last year, let alone next year. Number 2, why is it a day of remembrance? Why is the first day scripturally known, or the 10th month, the first day of the 10th month, known as a day of remembrance? And what is the sign of remembrance with the sun, moon, and stars for the first day of the 10th month? And why are we not to forget this? Again, signs, right? So, as always, stop the video at any time, because we are going to share a ton of information. So feel free to stop the video to focus on that evidence, to further ensure that it is absorbed and understood in the best possible manner. And another way to do that is to ensure that your computer monitor, mobile phone, or iPad is configured to full screen mode. Remember, these scriptural study videos are designed for a computer screen, a large computer screen. It works well on an iPad as well. But if you don't have that capability, reach out to us at family1@rogers.com, our email address. All of these visuals are offered to you in the description box through a PDF link, if you will, and you can get them through our email address as well. For the purpose, such as some of you are utilizing for prison work and sharing the word with others, widows, let alone your personal assemblies in your own family, and the other assemblies that you are either participating in or facilitating. And these visuals, we are learning, are becoming extremely valuable month after month. So we'll continue to do them as long as we can, Yahuwah willing, of course. So as we get into the scriptural study video, you may want to review these scriptural studies. We're just going to go over what we've done in the past. And we trust it because it's going to show up again in a couple of days. The same sign for the 10th month last year and previous years, let alone what will happen in future years. So this video has film and photograph footage, 10th new moon 2023, a day of remembrance. Why? And this video, HalaluYAH, it's first day of the 10th month, or month, 2023. We did these videos for good record keeping. It's part of the definition of remembrance. Why? Because they produce signs that are repeatable, that anyone on earth can film and photograph from anywhere. Remember, the word signs comes from the original word in Strong's H226 entry. It's a noun feminine. It's known as an oath, a promise, a sign. It comes from the root word from Strong's H184, which is avah, which carries the definition to sign, mark, describe with a mark. So we're going to take the time to really study out that sign again, the first day of the 10th month, because it's no different than last year, as it will be this year, and it will be no different next year. The YouTube channel has seen some considerable growth as of late. We're well over 2 million views. We have up to 18.1 thousand subscribers. And on the analytics of YouTube, they do a great job. 60% of returning viewers are not yet subscribed. So this number is far more higher. And we want to keep that going because it seems to be producing fruit in many assemblies in many countries in Europe, Africa, Asia, Australia, New Zealand, North and South America. It has been such an eye-opening journey and an enjoyable journey with all of the people that we are meeting. The other thing we're going to talk about, some of you may think it's the 11th month, but you may have possibly missed out on the true 13th month that Yahuwah installs, not human beings, not any man and or woman. So we're going to go through that one more time because it is quite relevant. So again, 2 categories. Stop the video at any time, and or if you want to print out or get a hard copy, soft copy if you will, go to the description box of the YouTube channel or reach out to us at family1@rogers.com. So let's start off with category 2. Why is it a day of remembrance from a scriptural standpoint? And what is the sun, moon, and star sign? So we go to Jubilees, chapter 6, verse 23. And on the new moon of the 1st month, and on the new moon of the 4th month, and on the new moon of the 7th month, and on the new moon of the 10th month, right here, we are now officially in the 4th division, per the book of Jubilees, let alone the writings of Hanok. So, and on the new moon of the 10th month are the days of remembrance, and the days of the seasons in the 4 divisions of the year. These are written and ordained as a testimony forever. If you nail down the signs for the first day of the 1st month in Abib, the first day of the 4th month, which is a portion or part of the count to Shavuot, the first day of the 7th month, which is trumpets, and the first day of the 10th month, which is in the winter, you will never be out of season. You will know when to plant, and you will know when to harvest, as we have covered in so many past scriptural study videos. This is why it's so important to remember it. And to remember anything is like a photographic memory. And thus why these days of remembrance come with a sign. Now we do all of the months, but we're going to focus on the 4 days of remembrance here for this study. Also, a big thank you to those Bereans out there that continue to study out Zechariah Yahu in chapter 8, verse 19, on the fasts. The fast of the 4th, fast of the 5th, fast of the 7th, and the fast of the 10th months, which are to be a joy, a gladness, if you will, pleasant appointed times for the house of YaHuaH, and they shall love the truth and peace. YaHuaH literally means those who worship Yahuwah. So we're going to focus on the fourth division, and we are now certainly in the fourth division. The ground is frozen, and we'll talk more about that throughout the study. Here's something cool about the 10th month. And in Bereshith, or beginnings, or Genesis chapter 8, verse 5, and the waters decreased steadily until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the first day of the month, the tops of the mountains became visible. Welcome to the first day of the 10th month, a day of remembrance. Let us not forget what happened on this day. Because if you understand that, you'll understand why in the first month, as read in Bereshith, or Genesis chapter 8, verse 5, in the first month, the first day of the month, the waters were dried up from the earth. Why is this so important? Because it points us back to the count from Moshe on the first month of Abib. On that new moon day, the first day of that new moon was Genesis chapter 8, verse 13. And if we understand the count of Moshe, and we number our days accordingly with the Scriptures, allowing Scripture to interpret Scripture, we'll also now know the comparison and the alignment that the 7th month has to the first month. New moon day is day 1, 7 days later on the 8th day is the first Sabbath of the month, 7 days later on the 15th day is the second Sabbath of the month, 7 days later on the 22nd day is the third Sabbath of any scriptural month, and 7 days later on the 29th day is the fourth and final Sabbath of any given scriptural month. So, Jubilees chapter 6 verse 23 has been extremely advantageous for many of us, and upon us very soon here in the next couple of days will be the first day of the 10th month if you follow the sun, moon, and stars, and if you truly want to understand the signs from the 4 days of remembrance. It is interesting to note that the prophet's name Zechariah YaHuaH, was actually not Zechariah. It's actually, as we can see here in the phonetics, Zechariah, as we can see here. And it comes from two words, and Zechar, a Strong's entry H2142, literally means to remember, recall, call to mind, to be brought to remembrance, be remembered, be thought of, be brought to mind, to cause to remember, to remind oneself, to keep in remembrance, to mention, to record, to make a memorial. Again, record keeping, make a remembrance. Well, this is why the first day of the 10th month has a sign. And that sign carries through the whole 10th month, not just for one day. So this is why it's so important to understand the 4 days of remembrance, let alone the last one, which is the first day of the 10th month. So now we're ready to go review and prove the 10th new moon this year from last year, let alone prepare ourselves for a year in advance. It's a day of remembrance. We've recorded it, and thus why we have the extreme confidence that the sun, moon, and stars will once again reveal the sign for the first day of the 10th month, the fourth day of remembrance, because the stars will tell us so as they are in alignment with the sun and moon. Very basic. Again, Hanok chapter 72 verse 3, and I saw 6 portals in which the sun rises, and 6 portals in which the sun goes down, and the moon rises and goes down in these portals, and the leaders of the stars and those whom they lead. So we're going to talk about that for the first day of the 10th month. Remember, in Abib, the first day of the first month, Abib, known as Spica, or the branch, leads the moon. Now, some of you kind of came out of the gate a little earlier, some of the full moon community, this year, and missed the 13th month because didn't trust Hanok. And that's okay. I didn't either from approximately 2000 to 2004, but thankfully there were some Bereans that had the patience with me. I had the disease of vertigo, let alone the equinox deception. I was still hugging the equinox. I was a little worried about that. But anyways, a first month sign, Abib will lead the moon. And the sun will be in proximity with the morning star, known as the Lamb or Hamal. Ursa Major will be in its proper position, facing down and facing to the twins, if you will. And the tail end of Ursa Major will be with Arcturus and Spica in its proper position. 6 months later, it's opposite. The morning star will now be leading the moon, the full moon. And the sun will be in proximity to Spica Abib, the branch. It's opposite, while Ursa Major will be in its proper position facing up, opposite of a first month, between the second and third night watch. So that's the first day of remembrance as compared to the third day of remembrance, which occurs on the first day of the seventh month. Well, if you get into the same scenario with the first day of the fourth month as compared to the first day of the 10th month, 6 months apart, you'll notice that in the first day of the fourth month, the summer triangle will be leading the moon and other stars. The sun will be in proximity to two stars known as the twins, known anciently as Castor and Pollux. There are other names for them. Polaris will be on its side facing east and facing towards Pollux and Castor, where the tail end of Ursa Major with Arcturus and Spica will be in its proper position on the azimuth. Again, this is a high-level Cliff's Notes or Cole's Notes version, if you will. There's more to this. And on the first day of the 10th month, which is soon upon us, Castor and Pollux, known as the twins, will lead the moon. And will prove in this scriptural study video that it will actually start that leading process, Castor and Pollux, only on the first day of the 10th month and carry through for the whole month. Remember, in a 9th month, Castor and Pollux are lagging the full moon. They lag the moon. On a 10th month, they lead it. And then the rest of the stars here with Ursa Major will be in its proper position facing west, and then Polaris during the second to third watch. So we're going to have our views at the dawn, a little past this time period, but this is the Cole Notes, very high level, and we cover more detail because this clock is a counterclockwise clock from our perspective being placed on Earth looking up. Okay, so let's continue on here. So again, dawn day start, stop the video, take the time to study this out. You'll be extremely glad that you did. And we're not going to just focus on one 3-minute sunrise time period or a moonrise or a sunset. We're going to look at the whole face of the clock for the whole first day of the 10th month and what happens. Again, as witnesses or wonders, why not observe them? So again, these two videos were very good. And let's go to last year. So last year, we said that the new moon day for the 10th month, the first day of the 10th month, that day of remembrance, occurred at the dawn on the pagan day of Saturday, January 7th, 2023, as confirmed here with film and photograph footage. And in the full moon community, there was no argument about this. Everybody was on the same page. Everybody. No argument. It was nice and smooth. And we have proof of that. Even the Creator's calendar stated the very same thing, that the 10th month occurred on the pagan day of January 7th, right here. Now, they have a sunrise day start, which is problematic, and we'll get into that. And remember, we've enjoyed this website. It has some challenges, and we'll go over that. But again, proving the point here that the sign, the same one that's coming up, happened last year on the 10th month, which occurred on the pagan day of January 7th. So let's take a look at that sign. So here it was. Pollux and Castor led the moon starting after the dawn for the whole day, all the way into that night period, into the second day and the third day. Pollux and Castor led that moon. So let's go take a look at stellarium now, because most people are not looking at the whole. They're just looking at the part. They cherry pick. So let's take a look at that in great detail on Stellarium. Okay, then here's that same view for the pagan day of January 7th, 2023, last year. At the dawn, here's the sun almost starting to peek its way out. We would see the light, and if you know how to configure Stellarium, there you go. That's called first light. That's a true scriptural day start. And if you put in the atmosphere, that's what it would look like outside in creation. And in this case, a simulated view due to Stellarium. But here, some people are saying, well, wait a minute, isn't Pollux and Castor behind? Well, the day hasn't started yet. You're still finishing the day before the new moon day. So let's look at the whole clock. So here we are at the dawn, well before sunrise, 6:10 a.m. in my area. And again, anyone on Earth will be seeing this with the twins or Pollux or Castor. Now watch for the rest of the day. You'll notice that Pollux and Castor lead the moon in this first day of the 10th month, as you can see here. And just before the second day of the 10th month, Pollux and Castor will be the lead stars for the entire 10th month. And this is what we mean at looking at the whole face of the clock, not just at that one moment of time or dawn, sunrise, or sunset. Look at the whole face of the clock like you do with your wristwatch or a wall clock. Why rob yourself? If you don't do it with human timing, why in the world would you rob yourself of these wonderful witnesses from YaHuaH, our Father of Lights? So this is the sign for the whole month. The twins, Pollux and Castor, will lead the moon, or be ahead of the moon, if you will, for the entire month. And the next new moon day, they will be farther ahead of even that. Again, the 9th month, Pollux and Castor will be behind the moon. It's this simple. It's not that complex. Let's get on with the study. So here is that same view with everything circled. So there is Ursa Major pointing to Pollux and Castor. Remember, Ursa Major, those two stars, Dubhe and Medak, from Ursa Major, known as the Bear, with its two sons, Arcturus and Spica, will be high in the sky at the dawn. And it'll be pointing to Pollux and Castor, and Dubhe will be pointing to the North Star Polaris. And for thousands and thousands of years, these stars have been used for navigation. So, again, throughout that whole day, Pollux and Castor will lead the moon. And for the whole 10th month, Pollux and Castor will be ahead of it. The 9th month, Pollux and Castor are behind it. Pretty basic, right? And again, Hamal is the lead stars for Pleiades and Orion. And as we shared in previous videos, Spica leads Arcturus and Ursa Major, which is a clock, counterclockwise. Again, this is if you're looking south and your head's pointing to the north, so you're seeing this whole clock move counterclockwise. You don't want to face the south because you're going to turn your back on Ursa Major. Ursa Major tells you the total time that night watches out of the 4 night watches. So this is why we configure the Stellarium views in this manner. So pretty basic. So what's the sign next year, which is soon upon us from 2023 all the way to the pagan year of 2024 in the next couple of days? Again, if you use the whole clock, the sign should be the same. Don't pick and choose. Don't cherry pick. Well, again, there is 2023 last year. Here is this year. Pollux and Castor are leading. Ursa Major is in its proper position, as always, pointing to Pollux and Castor and the North Star, while Arcturus and Spica are well above. Now, some of you in the southern hemiplanes, such as southern tips of South America, some portions of Africa, you will not see Ursa Major, but you will see Pollux and Castor. You'll definitely see it, and you'll definitely see Arcturus and Spica. So, Pagan Day commencing at the dawn, Friday, January 26th, will be the first day of the 10th month. And pretty basic. Well, what about a year from now, in the pagan year of 2025? Same sign, which will occur on the pagan day of Tuesday, January 14th, 2025. Again, Pollux and Castor will lead in the 10th month for the whole 10th month. In the 9th month, Pollux and Castor will be lagging. Kindergarten astronomy. if you use all 3 witnesses with the sun, moon, and stars and a fully restored new moon. Very, very basic. And some of you out there last year were convinced that Pollux and Castor was part of the first day of the 10th month, the 4th and final day of remembrance. But some of you gave it up because you had a little bit of nerves bother you, your gut, if you will. Your emotions may have got the best of you due to vertigo, or what some people call equinox huggers, the equinox deception. You felt it was too far from the equinox. Well, again, the equinox or solstices don't determine new moon days. Again, the sun, moon, and stars do. Not one witness. Don't cherry pick. Now, I say this not from an authoritative standpoint. I say this as a humbling experience where I made all the mistakes. I didn't recognize this. And again, from 2000 to 2004, I keep bringing up Emmett's name, who's no longer with us, the love and patience and kindness individual shared with me was second to none. And other brains I'll never forget and continue to enjoy to this very day. So, put it all together. 2023 last year, no one argued that this was the first day of the 10th month. And they recognized that Pollux and Castor for the month led the moon, was ahead of the moon, if you will, and the sun was in its proper position with its stars, as it is for a 10th month. Well, here we are this year, same sign, and next year, same sign. This is why we did the 13th month video, because we knew some people would struggle with it, just like we did in the past. But people have to go through these struggles. This is how you learn, and it's how we learned. We made the mistakes. And it's funny how YaHuaH walks you through the mistakes so that you're in a position to explain from a humbling standpoint, to prove that you're not a teacher, you're just a student. So we are learning so much more. We believe we still only understand a tip of the iceberg out of all the witnesses. So again, these visuals are free of charge for you. So as you can see, the Creator's Calendar team out of California, they made the mistake of calling the pagan day of April 6th a first month. It was a 13th month. And this is why they're off by an entire month. The whole year is off. So this is a 10th month. It's not an 11th month. Again, they had the proper day with the Day of Remembrance last year, but this year, because they chose incorrectly, they didn't allow YaHuaH to reveal his 13th month. They got a little nervous. And the quote from this particular website is, "Oh, it's too late to go in May." Well, no, that's the sign. The first day of the first month of Abib occurred in the pagan month of May. Abib led the moon. 6 months later, Hamal led the moon. It was an opposite sign, and thus the reason why this is a 10th month, not an 11th month. Remember, this site's great. It's fabulous. But truly, they're only a non-scriptural lunar solar. They don't use the scriptural stars, and they admit it. They use a non-scriptural sunrise day start. Remember, the Hindus to this very day, Persian world religions was a sunrise day start. Egypt had a sunrise day start. Are we not to come out of her? Number 3, non-scriptural practice of requesting and accepting money. I know one guy gave 25 grand in one check to this individual. Think about that for a moment. YaHuaH owns the sun, moon, and stars. None of us as human beings own it. Thus, none of us have the right to charge for a one-page summary. That's for darn sure. That doesn't show the rest of the witnesses. They get you to focus on a Persian, Egyptian day start, and then they charge you money for it. And then we've got some people, regrettably, giving their hard-earned money to sites like this. And this is just one example. I can go over many, many more in conjunction moon sites, crescent moon sites, solar only, lunar solar only, and then there's the 4th day calendar, and then they go 7 days after that. It's not aligned to Moses counts. It's not aligned to the sun, moon, and stars. Again, no witnesses. This site doesn't provide any film or photograph footage. And we're not chopping or being overly critical here. This is just evidence. And if you love your neighbor, you're going to share these summaries. If you don't love your neighbor, you're not going to say anything. Silent approval is a deadly, deadly form of communication. And again, as we see, they don't look at the whole clock. They don't consider the full day nor the 4 night watches. They give you look at this, 11-minute window to get it right, 13-minute window, 7 minutes. If you miss it, you have any tree lines or building lines or valleys. This does not make any sense just from that astronomical standpoint. So again, they also are going to get the day wrong because they have a sunrise day start. Let's get into that now. They think New Moon Day is going to be on the 25th because they're only looking at a sunrise time period. They're not looking at the whole day, the 4 night watches. They're not looking at the whole. Again, the heavens are proclaiming the esteem of the Almighty Father of Lights, YaHuaH himself, the only self-existent one, the designer. His expanse is declaring the work of his hand. Day to day pours forth speech, and night to night reveals knowledge. Where does any of this scriptural language say just focus on that 3-minute to 20-minute window at the sunrise or sunset, moonrise, moonset, whatever? You're supposed to look at the whole clock like you do with a human timing piece. So here's the reason. So on this upcoming New Moon Day, take a look at Perth, Australia. The moon will not greet the sun until sunrise until the pagan day of Friday, January 26th. And it'll be 100% illuminated, fully restored. Same applies in Cape Town, South Africa. First time it'll greet the sun will be on the pagan day of Friday, January 26th. Moon will be fully restored, and the moon, this moon will be 2.80 degrees above the horizon, or beyond the horizon for some of us that measure that accordingly. But if you take a look in my area, the moon will greet the sun on Thursday, January 25th, but it will not be fully restored by the dawn. Again, a dawn day start is a true scriptural day start. Same thing applies with Jerusalem. Same thing applies with Dallas, Texas. Take a look at the folks that believe in a sunset. Same problems arise. Well, what's the problem? Well, it's presumptuous. Again, if you look at the Creator's calendar slide, you've got a 3-minute to 20-minute window to get it. YaHuaH doesn't do that. He gives you a whole month and he gives you a whole day and 4 night watches to get it. But why are presumptuous ones attempting to get you to look at a small window of time? They're presumptuous. They want to rule over you. They're basically telling you, don't look at all the witnesses. Oh, don't forecast. Don't do any of that. Just listen to me. They're presumptuous. On this YouTube channel, and with the Bereans that we study with, we encourage to look at all of the witnesses that align us, not a 3-minute to 20-minute window that creates disunity. And we're not talking about disunity in the body. We're talking about disunity in the heavens. This is serious stuff. So this is why the psalmist said, also keep your servant back from presumptuous ones, getting you to focus on something so small. No human being on earth would say, just look at the minute hand when it hits the 12. Forget about the other 2 witnesses. And this is what's happening with these folks that constantly ask you to look at the moon only greeting the sun at sunrise. It's bizarre to say the least, but it is what it is. Psalms chapter 19, verse 13 captures the very essence and spirit of this non-scriptural approach. In fact, this non-scriptural approach is further captured in Mishlei, meaning truth, now known today as Proverbs in chapter 18, verse 2. A fool does not delight in understanding, but only in airing his or her opinions. This is an opinion. It's not the whole clock. It's a portion, a very small portion of the total clock and calendar. Very much like the sunset view, which is inconsistent. Now, there are some months where everyone's aligned to the moon greeting the sun at sunrise, but not in all cases. Sure, it's a great witness. This is why we track it. Why? Because we're not opinionated. We look at all of the witnesses to find out how they align us. And again, Scripture is simple. To establish any matter, 2 or 3 witnesses. So why are some people forcing you to a 3-minute to 20-minute window? Ask yourself this. It's serious stuff. So moving forward, this is why it says Zechariah, his name actually means to remember the hidden things of Yahuwah. And thus why this prophet said, "Thus said Yahuwah of hosts, see, I'm saving or delivering my people from the land of sunrise and from the land of sunset." It's presumptuous at best. It creates massive chaos and confusion. If you take the dawn, the true scriptural day star witness, we're all on the same page. The moon will be fully restored at the dawn on the pagan day of Friday, January 26, commencing at the dawn. If you take the 180 witness, we're all on the same page with the commencement of first day of the 10th month, the 4th day of remembrance, on the pagan day of Friday, January 26th. If we take a look at the full illumination, just as Hanok said, or the prophet Enoch, chapter 78, verse 10 from the HalaluYAH Scriptures version, and Uriel, this name means flame of the Almighty One, or the light of the Almighty Father of light, Yahuwah himself. And Uriel showed me another law, when light is transferred to the moon, and on which side it is transferred to her by the sun. The moon is known in a female gender, while the sun is known as a male gender. I read this again because this witness is huge and it aligns us. Both in total time that Yahuwah gives, he's impartial. Everyone will receive 11 hours of fully restored moonlight. Why? Uriel showed me another law, when light is transferred to the moon and on which side it is transferred to her, to the moon, by the sun. If you know the position of the sun, you will know the phase of the moon. Scriptures prove this, so does the astronomy. So make a long story short, if you include the scriptural stars as we shared here, you're doing your best to utilize all of the scripture and all of the astronomical witnesses available to tell time, more specifically the appointed times of Yahuwah, because you trust in Yahuwah with all your heart and not in the opinions of human beings. Again, the odds of probability that these scriptural stars would be the ones you could see with the human eye unaided is astronomical. This is not coincidence that these remained in Scripture. Yahuwah ensured that the stars you could see to tell time with the sun and moon would remain in Scripture. After all of the attacks from the evil scribes and changing the Scriptures, Yahuwah still ensured that his scriptural stars that could be seen to tell time remained. That is an empirical, absolute truth. You can reject it, but it's not advisable for obvious reasons. So as we close out the study, we encourage everyone, as we've been encouraged by others, to look at the whole clock, not just portions of it here and there to cherry pick so that you can give your opinion to someone else. Yes, it's a lot of work doing all of the witnesses. But again, it's the work that produces the joy. It's not the opinions. So here are the 3 witnesses, last year, this year, and next year into 2025. Same sign. Some of you filmed it last year and rejected it this year. You have to ask yourself why. You got to get rid of vertigo, and the Roman Catholic beast. Their influence on making people equinox huggers is fascinating to say the least, but it doesn't work. That is a dog that won't hunt, as they say in Texas. So again, you can trust Yahuwah with all your heart. You don't have to lean on any human being's understanding. Remember, the psalmist said in chapter 136, verse 7-9, "To him who made the great lights, for his kindness is everlasting. The sun to rule by day, for his kindness is everlasting. The moon and stars to rule by night, for his kindness is everlasting." Well, when Yahuwah puts in his language, in his scriptures, something that repeats itself 3 times, it's there for us to stand up and take notice. What does it mean for his kindness is everlasting? Well, in the Strong's H2617, for his kindness is everlasting, the phonetic spelling in the Hebraic or original language is chesed. The definition is goodness, kindness, loyalty. Chesed. Remember that, chesed, because it comes up with something, because the moon is a light on a lampstand, not at sunrise, but at the dawn and through the 4 night watches where all can see it, ruling with the stars. If you wait till sunrise, or even sunset, you won't see the stars, you won't see the signs. And this is why there's confusion. We were part of that in the early 2000s. So, chesed, well, what is that related to in Scripture? Well, if we read in James 1:17, every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no change nor shadow of turning. Again, goodness, kindness. They're gifts. They're loyal. They don't change. That's why the first day of the 10th month, Pollux and Castor will lead the moon. It's that simple. So, to trust in Scripture is from the Strong's entry H982. It means batak, to trust. It's part of goodness. It's part of kindness. It's part of loyalty. That's what we trust. That's how trust is earned. Synonyms for trust: confidence, certainty, reliable. This is where we get the word reality. The reality is Pollux and Castor will lead the moon in the 10th month as it did last year and in previous years. And to all of you that took film and photograph footage of it. And for the ones that didn't, you knew which day your new moon day was last year. And Pollux and Castor led the moon. You know this. You can go verify it if you don't. And you can verify it this year with film and photograph footage. And you can verify it by forecasting it out in upcoming years, as we've shown here in the pagan year 2025. Well, what am I getting at? Well, I'd like to thank a Berean right now, Patrice, for this scriptural passage. I asked for advice from a lot of the folks that we assemble with, and to share the importance of reliability, or reality, if you will, and why we look at Ursa Major all the time that points to the North Star. Why do we look at that view and have our head looking up towards the moon and the sun going in a counterclockwise from east to west? Well, here's another reason why. And we get this from 2 Chronicles, or 2 YaDaH YaHUaH, chapter 7, verse 17. Quote, "And you, if you walk before me as your father Dawood walked, and do according to all that I have commanded you, and if you guard my laws and my right rulings, then I shall establish the throne," remember that word, throne, "of your reign, as I covenanted with Dawood your father, saying, there is not to cease a man of yours as ruler in Yisrael." Yisrael. Well, that word Yisrael, phonetic spelling Yisrael, that original word that we can find in H3478, is made up of 2 words. That first word, Yisra, comes from the root word H8220, which is Sarah. Yisrael, which means to persist, exert oneself, persevere. And this is what we're doing with the celestial clock and calendar of Yahuwah. We're persevering year after year to test and prove if those signs were so. And the first day of the 10th month, Pollux and Castor, the twins, will lead the moon all the way through the 10th month. The 9th month, they'll be lagging. And that other word that you've seen before here, let's go back a little bit on some slides here, because we'll tie all this together quite nicely. So if we take a look at the word right here, it's coming up, I promise. If you look at the word chesed, the kindness is everlasting, chesed, well, what word is that associated to as it relates to goodness, kindness, loyalty, trust, reliability, and or reality? Well, if you look at these words, throne, that word is chesed. So trust, chesed, the throne is chesed. That original word is used for throne, the seat of honor, the throne. The root word of chesed is chesed, which is full moon. Now, if that doesn't raise the hair on the back of your neck, nothing will. And it reminds us of a scriptural passage in Psalms, chapter 81, verse 3, Tehillim, or Tahalim, meaning praises. chapter 81, verses 3 and 4, blow the ram's horn at the time of the new moon, at the full moon, the throne, the kaseh, on our festival day, for this is a law for Yisrael, those who persist, exert oneself, and persevere, and are right ruling of the Almighty Father of lights of Yaakov. Remember, there's a movement out there right now called Yisrael. Yashar means to be upright and perfect with the Almighty One. There's no perseverance, there's no exertion, there's no persistence, they're just saved. Once saved, always saved. Sounds Catholic, doesn't it? Because in the Catholic organization and the outpouring of that lie that once saved, always saved has regrettably filtered into the Hebrew roots movement with a Yasharel. It's a replacement word. Yisrael and Yasharel are two different things. One's man-made, one's scriptural. Yisrael is the ones of Yehuda, the ones that worship Yahuwah, that persevere, exert oneself, persevere. They have no opinions. They just do their best to research and share all of the evidence, not cherry pick. So hopefully this trust in Yahuwah with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. To close this out, we have a lot of thanks and appreciation to many Bereans. So Patrice, thank you very much for you and your husband Paul in regards to this scriptural passage. Denise, Cynthia, Simon, Ray. I could go on and on and on. And another couple that we've received so many blessings from, Raul and Tracy. Your forecasting work is really influencing me to raise my game a little higher as well, to improve my skill sets, continuous improvement, to persevere, to exert, to never be satisfied in regards to what we think we know, to go forward and to truly understand this timing piece. So if you're looking at this one particular slide, it is showing a daily count of the sun and moon. Raul and Tracy are getting to the point where they know the position of the sun and how it pours its light out onto the moon, proving what phase it's going to be. So they can use this for timing, let alone navigation anywhere on Earth, and their work in the stars has been encouraging as well. So again, I know I'm going to miss some of you. I can't name all of you. Big thanks to Yara for that steadfastness on the name and to ensure that we're allowed to cry out to Yahuwah, our Father of lights, just like the Son did Yahushua. He shewed to his Father for his deliverance while on the stake. Be aware of anyone. Be aware of anyone that is attempting to stop you from crying out for your deliverance to the Father of lights, let alone that are attempting to stop you from looking at all the evidence. Why on earth would anybody do that? Be aware of that. We're not saying be fearful of it. Just be aware of it. You will find out their intentions are not to produce fruit, but rather share their opinion. We are attracted as Bereans to other Bereans that love to research, and as such, why we are not teachers. We want to be the best researchers that we possibly can be. So hopefully that clears that up. So the next workshop will be soon announced. We'll go through some of this information and much, much more. And we thank all of the Bereans doing this work. Again, this community is growing exponentially. And we thank Yahuwah himself for this opportunity to serve in the way, truth, and life. So stay close to the community page on our YouTube channel, and those dates will be announced soon enough. And we're going to continue to use Skype. That seems to be the consensus. We have other calls with Microsoft Teams, Zoom, let alone even Messenger on Facebook, and many other tools that we use. And thank you for some of the folks just staying to email. Our emailing lists are well into the thousands now, and again, growing exponentially. So we thank each and every one of you, because we never thought these scriptural studies that we used to do here in our basement with our kids when they were younger, they're all now over 30 years of age, we never thought that work would end up going to many countries all over the earth, and we remain quite satisfied and thankful. So anyways, on the pagan day of Friday, January 26th, commencing at the dawn, will be the first day of the 10th month, which is the fourth and final day of remembrance in the cycle. And, just a big thank you. And we continue to call out to Yahuwah, our Father of Lights, to shua out to him for our very existence, let alone deliverance. And we thank Yahuwah for sending us his firstborn of all creation, the Mashiach Yahushua, his son, who is our only teacher. So we thank each and every one of you. We'll continue to pray that these scriptural study videos provide value to you and your loved ones. And until next time, Yahuwah willing, have a YAHsome day, and we look forward to your film and photograph footage with the moon with Pollux and Castor, the sign for the first day of the 10th month, the 4th day of Remembrance. Hallelujah, everyone.